That was not going to come out of there no matter how hard I pulled it. So I've realized I have a story to tell you. So come along, let's go for the ride. Let's sit down and talk about this. All right, everyone, welcome back to Garage Story. I'm not actually sitting down, I'm going to stay standing up, but behind me here is my 2007 Toyota Corolla, which has been a faithful car to me for many years. In that time frame, I have done almost nothing to it. There is some deferred maintenance that has been coming up, but I had something happen the other day. I was on my way to my regular day job and my battery light popped on my dash. So I thought, okay, I need to be aware of that. Finished work, started up the car to leave work. It was a little bit slower to start up. I stopped for an errand on the way home and it was really slow to start up after that. And I decided I'm gonna go straight home, not do anything else. Which I did, made it home safe and sound. Turned the car off once I got here, tried to start it again, it would not start. I jumped the car, got it running, pulled out my voltmeter, and the car was only running, what was it running at? 11 volts, 10 volts, something like that. It was pretty low. That led me to thinking, well, maybe my alternator is bad. Maybe my light only comes on like when my voltage drops below 12 volts, which is why I didn't have much warning time once the light came on. So I was pretty sure my alternator is bad. Then I had this thought, hey, I wonder if there's a voltage regulator on here. How would I check that? What if it's not my alternator, it's just a voltage regulator? And I had the bright idea of trying to pop the plastic cover off that. There's a nut there on the side of the alternator, and I'll show you this here in just a little bit. Try to get that plastic cover off there, and this should be dead, the car's not running. Then turn it on and see if I get some AC current coming out of there. I'm not getting any DC current going to my battery, on my battery, but maybe I'll have some AC current coming out of there. Going to a voltage regulator if there is one. Spoiler alert, I don't think there is one. I don't think a lot of new cars really do that anymore, if any. I didn't have a manual, and I didn't do hardly any Googling about this. So, I'm trying to get that silly plastic cover off, which would need to come off anyway to change out the alternator. It just covers that post where the juice comes out. My channel locks, they arced to the alternator itself, and I saw some sparks, and okay, yeah, that's definitely live. I should probably not continue down this path without disconnecting the battery. The battery got charged up with a battery charger. I tried to start the car up to go to town and get a new alternator. And what do you know? I started up my car and my instrument cluster is dead. The power windows, they don't work. My radio, it doesn't work. The fan doesn't work, but the car runs. Apparently, when I was trying to get that cover off and I sparked from that hot wire to the alternator, I blew something out. I started looking through my fuse tray and I found a fuse that was labeled ALT. Well, sure enough, that fuse is blown, but guess what? I can't get the fuse out for the life of me. Here is what it looks like, and the little blown part is still sitting down in there. So I'm using my pliers or whatever to try to get this thing out of there, and the blades pulled out of this and stayed in the fuse board. That is annoying. And so far, I have not been able to get them out of there. And I've tried needle nose pliers, my channel locks. Sorry for the long-winded rumble rant story, but I kind of was just trying to get this taken care of, and I realized it's a story happening here, and I sometimes have trouble filming enough things to make enough videos, so why not go ahead and jump in halfway through? If I cannot get the fuse out of there, I may have to pull out my fuse block, which I really don't want to do. So these are the pesky little blades that will not come out. So I've been disconnecting the wires in here because I was thinking I might need to take this whole fuse panel out. I did try unbolting it once, but all this stuff is in the way here and I would have to like take apart my air intake. So let's try again, see if we can get these blades out of here. But it is possible, in theory I guess, that those blades got melted into the fuse panel. That would not be good. Slip right off of there. I'm honestly not sure why blowing that fuse would make everything dead, because this circuit board has power coming from the battery and from the alternator, and I feel like the battery should still make everything work. So blowing the alternator fuse, not quite sure. It's entirely possible that we damaged something else as well. Working on lawnmowers, a few sparks isn't really a big deal most of the time. So I am now thinking that this fuse is a bolted in style fuse. Like you have to take apart the fuse box tray or whatever to get to the underside. or there may be some screws or bolts or something holding it down. I didn't know that those really existed, but doing a little Googling, YouTubing, I think that might be what's going on here. So, how do we get this thing out? But I've been looking at it and I think it might be made to separate. So, I had already previously tried taking off these two bolts right here, this bolt here, and there's one down under there that holds it in. And that did not work. I still couldn't get out because there's a big bundle of wires here and here holding it down. But I'm realizing that there's like these little clips around it. So maybe if I unbolt it again, if I start trying to undo those clips, maybe I can get this whole top portion to separate and come out. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do next. So it seems like with unbolting the fuse box, I can get just enough room to get around to most of those little clips. I need to go grab a little screwdriver, try to get the last ones, and I may be able to separate it. And maybe I can get to what I need to, and maybe not. We'll find out. So you can see kind of these spots here, so where you can get down to the tabs. All right, I just had a silly aha moment after I came back out here after having supper. Sometimes you just need a break. I don't know why I didn't think about this, but just take this air filter cover off. That plug was easy, I'd already undone that. Now this comes out, which I'm planning to replace. Oh, gracious. And it looks like that's just 3 bolts that hold the box down. And then I should be able to get to the underside of the fuse box. So suddenly feel like we're making progress again. And it's not quite as big a deal to get the air intake out as I thought it was, and I maybe don't have to get out as much of it as I thought I might need to. Now we have much more room here to look at the fuse box. Oh yeah, now I can suddenly move this thing around a lot. So I'm trying to get to the back side of this one right here. All right, there it is. Ha 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 ha. There it is, that's the bolt. It is bolted in. I wonder if it's just one bolt. Sweet, now I have something I can do. Not very long, let's try not to lose it. What do you know? Sure enough. That was not gonna come out of there no matter how hard I pulled it. The fuse is bolted in. You learn something new every day, I guess. Hopefully. Let's see if the other one comes out, or if there's 2 bolts. Of course, the other one does not come out, and that was the only one that was easy to get to. So now we know what's going on, but we still gotta wrap it up. Okay, I feel the bolt on the other side. I have no idea if you'll be able to see the bolt. I'm gonna take you for a dive and let's spin upside down. And I feel like I can feel the bolt right there. I feel like it's a different size bolt. Let's try a 10. Maybe for some reason they put a 10 in here. It fits right on there. That's crazy. Why an 8 on one side and a 10 on the other? I don't know. Just don't get it. Why a 10 millimeter and an 8 millimeter? All right, so the car is half torn apart now, but we finally got the silly fuse spades out. Have you ever had a bolted in fuse like that before? Probably a lot of y'all have, because I probably am more experienced with older cars. But yeah, you can see what happened here. Just pull these spades straight out of there. But I learned something today, and that's good. So we need to go find a new one of these fuses. Hopefully we can get this car back on the road pretty quickly. It's not really torn half apart, it wasn't that bad. It was just a little stumper for me. I'm just used to those regular fuses you just pull straight out. All right, so it's a new day. I went to Napa yesterday and got some parts. Here's my new fuse. Hopefully that thing works as needed. And hopefully that's the only thing wrong with the electrical system besides the alternator. Also picked up a new serpentine belt. The one in there is having, well, it's working fine, but it has some weather cracking on there. And I figured this would be a good time to do that. And this way I also feel like I'm getting a little bit ahead instead of just trying to keep up with stuff happening on the car. And of course the actual alternator. So it was quite a bit cheaper to get the alternator from Napa instead of O'Reilly's or AutoZone. Hopefully it's still a decent quality. Not 100% sure. Looking online, it sounds like Denso is the brand that is the best, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly who uses what brand. It is a reman, but this one was, I think it was like $132 plus your core charge, of course. Next step up, I need to go ahead and get the alternator removed from the car. Then I'll compare, make sure that they actually look the same. Then I will, of course, reinstall with the serpentine belt, and then probably last of all, throw the fuse in, put it back together and see if it can run. This isn't a how to do that type of video, so we'll probably just try to skim through the rest of that. Hopefully this works. These are looking pretty similar. The casting grains on this one look a lot larger. The original one here is a Denso from Toyota. That's too bad that this new one does not appear to be a Denso. I've read good things about Denso. And of course, need to make sure the pulleys are the same, and they appear to be. Let me transfer this bracket over. Alright, I'll get to work on swapping those couple of things over, and then we will get on with installation. Alright, so we got the alternator installed in there. That went pretty well. So now I need to remove the old serpentine belt, compare it to the new one, and then reinstall the new one. And also in the process, be sure I don't forget how it gets routed. I would never do that. I'm not even gonna try to show belt routing and stuff in the in the video, because there's no good way to do it. It's easy to get the old belt out. New belts are hard to get stretched out all the way when you're doing this, but it appears to be, I thought it was going to be a little short. It actually feels very similar. The valleys look deeper on the old one. I don't know if that's just wear and tear. Maybe these new ones will like just really fit snug on there. Well, we'll see if we can get this on. I'm doing something with wire here. Basically, my belt is down at the bottom part of the car and I need to pull all the way up, and my arm is bigger around than this flashlight, so I can't fit it down there very well. So hopefully I can stick this with a hook on here and fish the belt up through. How do guys with big arms do this? I think we're in the right spot now. Now I just need to reduce tension. Take this wire back out of here. You did your job. Now I need to get my my ratchet wrench, detension the tension, and then hopefully we can get it on. Right. Perfect. I'll flip the wire out with my fingers and get it on there. Oh, not quite all the way on there. Starting to try to come off on the idlers here. There we go. That looks much better. Let's just double check everything. Don't want to ruin a $36 belt. Now I compare to my pictures again. That one runs across the top under there. That one comes up right under it. Alright, I think we did it. I think we got the belt on correctly. So that is good. So that just leaves me with putting in the new fuse, and then putting everything back together, or at least partially back together, and seeing if it works. So I was working on the car. A wasp has been trying to build a mud dauber nest right there. Or dirt dauber, whatever you call them. On my air intake box. Didn't take long. Whew. Okay, let's get back to the fuse installation. Here's the new one. Let's make sure we got apples to apples here. Alright, it looks pretty much the same, only the new one is not burned out inside. Learn from my experiences. Sometimes you can't pull a fuse out. Now I need to get all the silly little bolts in. If I can figure out where I put them. There we go. I thoughtfully put them in here and then forgot about it. So, okay, we've got them. I wonder if I should try to install the easy side first, when I can see, and hopefully that'll line up the other one. There we go. Okay. It's really hard to line up what you can't see. The head doesn't fit in here very good. Maybe I should try to show you guys this. I did not realize it, but there's actually a ground wire that goes on this bolt before it goes into the fuse, and or through the fuse and then tightens down. That's important. I say ground wire. There's a wire, an eyelet or whatever you call it. So that is important. I'm glad we didn't install it without doing that. That would be bad. Thankfully that washer keeps this from getting lost in the deep socket. Shucks, I just dropped it. I think it may have worked. Yes! It looks right. Now I just need to tighten them down and then kind of reassemble everything. But I think we've passed the high water mark of this project now. All right, see if I can get this fuse box all clicked back together. So now officially we only have 3 things left to do. Putting this cover on, the fuse block, reconnecting the battery and putting the cover on top here. We are officially done then, assuming everything works. So let's fire it up if it will and see what happens. I'll take a quick look at the engine, make sure nothing obviously missed. I don't see any tools there. I think we are ready for the moment of truth and maybe the conclusion of the story. We'll find out. Before, my entire instrument cluster was dead. Turn on. Alright, that is a really good sign. Starts right up. Idling really low there. That seems good. All my accessories are working, the car is running, started easily. Now we need to do something that's really important. And that's check with our multimeter and see if we're actually charging the battery. Because if we're not charging the battery, then we still got issues. The car is at idle, so it may not be charging very much right now, but should definitely be charging. So we want it to be over 14 volts. There we go, 14.13. At idle, I will take that. Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine for idling charge rate. The higher throttle might get a little higher in the 14s, but I don't think it should go over 15. So before, we were not charging at all. So mission accomplished. So I'm noticing a slightly unusual noise that I don't remember really hearing, but I'm only noticing it like here in the carport with the windows down. It's like a little noise when I immediately hit the throttle. Like it's a little lag and then it goes. I don't think the lag is abnormal at all. I'm gonna put the microphone out here somewhere and you can try and listen and see if you can hear it. It's probably a normal noise that I just noticed because of a certain situation in which I was listening, but we'll see if you can hear it as well. All right, I don't know if you were able to hear that noise or not, but hopefully it's nothing significant, but isn't that fitting into a project that you have something else come up that you're not quite sure about? That just seems like the way it is in life so often. It's like you want to say something's done, but something else happens and you're not quite sure if it's done. You have no plans to do anything about it, but it just leaves you a little bit unsettled, like, why is it that way? I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it is most likely that belt sliding on the pulleys, and it could have to do with the new belt. It could be an air leak and sucking some air right when you hit the gas, but I digress. This project is accomplished. We fixed the car. The alternator is swapped out, battery is charging. While we were in there, we also changed out our serpentine belt and we also put a new air filter. So we were trying to get a little bit step above where we were before this project started. I wasn't really planning to film this one because I just needed to get it done and taken care of, but it ended up being a little more of a story than I realized. So projects just don't go the way you plan on it, and if you can't pull a fuse out, it just might be bolted in. And as always, thank you so much for joining me on this story here at Garage Story. And don't be afraid to get out there and make your own stories. Don't be afraid to break a wrench, but more importantly, stay safe, spend time with your family, do important things. I could just keep going on like this, and we will catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.